I'm Joshua Potts, Mr. Possible, always with a brother with the same mother, Aaron Potts, Super Hot Potts, and you're watching and listening to your favorite two black runners every single Two Black Two. Here it goes. Yeah. Keep going.
Tuesday. We in the building. We back.
Let them know we're back with another Two Black Runners podcast. It's always a hiatus when we come back, but every single time we do come back, it's for something special. Indeed, we have someone special join us today here on the Two Black Runners podcast. As you guys know, well, I don't think a lot of y'all do know, but you should. Women's triple jump has royalty greats, and we're living in the greatness at this moment. And we got someone on the podcast that's held the indoor American record and the outdoor American record. She was a beast at Michigan State. She's basically an Illinois legend for what she did out there in Michigan and representing Chicago through and through. Even though she ain't from Chi-Town, but Evansville, it's close. It's nearby. It's nearby. You know what I mean? She's spiritual. She does all the things. Her log journey has impressed everybody over the past 2 years. She is the first American woman to medal in the outdoor triple jump at the World Championship. She did that last year, and she's coming for gold. I'm gonna say it right now, she's coming for gold this year in Budapest. We got Tori Franklin on the podcast, all the way from Greece, doing her thing. Tori, how you doing?
Hey, hi. That was an amazing intro. I feel so hype right now. Thank you.
We had to pass along that energy, across the globe to you. You know what I mean? It's early, but we excited. We excited to have you. And right before we were about to start, I was saying, and whenever I interview you, in the mix zone, talk to you, you're one of the most intentional athletes. I feel like you're a very present person. I feel like you work on yourself a lot. It's visual. We see it. People feel it that talk to you. So I'm excited to just hear more about who is Tori Franklin, how Tori Franklin came to be, because I don't know. I feel you just got amazing energy. I just want to start off with that. You got amazing energy.
Thank you. That's so kind. Y'all have amazing energy. That's why I really wanted to do this. And I'm excited about talking with you guys today.
Yeah, and it's super exciting to have you on too, because there's two other things that recently you feel me just happened to you as well. Getting your first U.S. championship outdoors in the triple jump, and also you're releasing a book, Anthem. It's coming out. It's on pre-sale right now. So I think we're gonna talk about that track side and Anthem coming out at the moment. But Aaron, I think we want to start talking about the athletics first, right? That's what we want to start off first.
Yeah, we'll start off with that. Just how are you feeling? Worlds is right around the corner, and like Joshua said, you just got your first U.S. title. But last year, we know you're coming off of getting that bronze medal, and you talked about this when you were interviewed. I saw with Kaylin. You said you visualized, you saw that. You said the same thing about Worlds. So I want to know, what are you seeing? Or I don't know if you want to reveal it, but how are you feeling, and what are you seeing for Budapest?
Yep. So first off, I just like to say that I'm feeling really good, and I'm starting to feel that same connection with my body that I felt last year before Worlds. So that's obviously exciting. I'm really strong right now. I'm feeling really fast, and practice is escalating. So I'm excited about it. And I have been having visuals. I won't share what they are specifically, but I have been having them, and I'm excited about bringing them into fruition.
I want to ask you these visuals that you get. I guess my first question for you is what do you call, what is a vision? Is it actually seeing this? Is it feeling it? And when you have these moments, do they sometimes happen are these years ahead of time, something oh, in college I saw myself doing this? Or is this something that you feel it's more cultivated, and you see, closer to when when they happen?
That's a really good question. So, I feel it physically, I feel it emotionally, and sometimes I get emotional as I see these visions.
Mm.
And that's when I know that like I'm really close to making this happen. And it kind of brings me like a peace. Like I've already seen this and I've already created this energy. I've already received this energy. And so all I have to do is just continue on my route to make it happen in reality. Um, and so sometimes for some things, I've seen them years in advance, but obviously I had no idea that's what it was. I would just be journaling and be like, oh, one day I see myself getting my master's in Paris. I journaled about that in 2014. And in 2019, that's what I was doing.
Mm.
So that was really cool. Yeah. And just like it was so specific. And that's exactly what ended up happening for my future. Other times it is just like maybe months, 3 months in advance where I start to see other things. Like for Worlds, I started to see that vision like 2.5 months before. But I had a feeling,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't have a vision until like 2.5, 3 months.
And I think what's so incredible about that world's accomplishment is that like no one's ever done it before. To do
Mhm.
something that no one's ever done before is you need some type of vision, you need some type of faith and some confidence that people don't usually have. You know, you don't have an example out there of how it's to be done or being walked through a pathway for that to happen. And I feel like over your past two championships that you've been to outdoors, Worlds being that one, and then USA's, like Katura, she's had a stranglehold at the USA's and outdoors. You feel me? Winning about
Yeah.
like 6 or 7 straight, and you're the first person to like break that stranglehold in a very very long time and come through. How has it been? What's the confidence that has brought you from Worlds and getting that first time medaling for American, and then now finally breaking Katura's streak? Like you keep on breaking down these barriers. What's the confidence that's given you each time that's been happening?
Mhm. Um, Honestly, it's not the accomplishments themselves that give me that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's my faith in trusting what I see and what I feel and seeing them come into fruition that gives me the confidence. You know, it's not just like, oh, I got a medal at at Worlds, you know, so now I'm this big boss or whatever. It's I saw that, I worked towards it, and I accomplished it. And that just shows me that that process is possible and that I can do that again.
Yeah, and like we were saying, like I was saying earlier in the show, you're very in tune with yourself. And just reading the description of the You Anthem, it sounds like you talk about like your healing journey, and I feel like you're gonna touch on this holistic approach that you take not just towards like athletics, but towards life. And I even think about where you are in life right now. Like I'm 28, about to turn 29. So you turned 30 last October too, and there's like all these huge accomplishments that you're coming into. Like, what has it been like entering? What has been like entering into 30? You know, I'm getting there. I'm about to get there too, and I know like right now for me, I feel myself like I'm a big energy person as well, but I feel myself like kind of changing, like getting like a little bit old, like older, and like thinking about things differently, and it's just crazy. I mean, some people are listening to this, they may be younger, but I feel like you go through, at that puberty again, like when you're going from like 17, 18 into 20, you kind of feel that, you feel that going from 8, 9, 10 to like 12, 11, 13.
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
big difference. So I want to ask you, with all the accomplishments that just happened, what does that feel like? What does that feel like for you right now?
Mhm. Um, you know, it's like it comes with a piece, really, because you get to learn yourself more as you age. You know, obviously, you're continually changing and evolving. And I would say the biggest thing for me that kind of brings that peace is allowing myself to do that and accepting that change and accepting this growth and this wisdom and this quote unquote age.
Mm-hmm.
that happens through time, and allowing yourself to be open to whatever God has for you, essentially. And so, yeah, going into 30 was, I reflected on all of my 20s and all the lessons I learned and the fun times and the bad times. And I was okay with like letting that go and letting that version of me be in that space of time, and being open to whatever is ready for me now, because I have so many things that I want to do with my life, and I can only accomplish them if I allow myself to keep growing.
And now, I was just gonna say, Joshua, you Anthem, we're here. But Joshua, did you have something you wanted to add before we go into that?
No, go ahead. Go right into it.
Yeah, we're going now. You're going into you Anthem, the sum of your experiences like thus far in a memoir. Is this peace, this calm, this feeling that you're feeling? Is that why it's time to release the book now? And is this something you always knew that you were gonna do?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I always knew I wanted to write a book. I've been journaling since I could write, pretty much. And when it started to become a reality for me was in 2019, when I started. The book is in two parts. I started writing the first part in 2019, which is basically just my mental health journey. And it goes through the loads. It gets really raw. And I was going to publish just that part, but the publishing process just kept revealing to me that it wasn't time, that I wasn't ready. I even got some comments from different publishers that like, people aren't ready for this type of, writing, that people aren't talking about mental health right now. Because that was just before everybody was talking about mental health,
Yeah.
So
was that like back in like, was that to like 2019, 2018, I'm assuming then? Because like, COVID hit, and that's what's really, everyone was like, all right, mental health.
Yeah, it was just before COVID hit, actually. It was like February of 2019 when I was finishing up the first part. And so that's was a big part of why I wasn't able to publish anything. And I just kept writing, and I kept feeling like I had more to say, because I did so much growing, like everybody, like during 2020, during that COVID quarantine period, and the following 2 years. And I just knew it wasn't done yet. Just internally, I just knew. And so I feel like now is the time, because one, I had this big accomplishment last year, and I think it's a good ending to a book, kind of showing the ups and downs. And I want to start other projects, and I want to be able to use this book to kind of like help market that as well.
Yeah, I think that is a great ending to show that like the battle through mental health leads up to a finish line. It leads to a great thing at the where you can overcome, you can triumph in so many different ways. And in that midst of where you're going through that struggle of like the publishing and everything, I've seen that. So going back to 2020, 2021, you were on like CNN and other publications, like writing about the mental health during like the Olympics and being an advocate. Did you have like an article that was titled like saying that like we're not superheroes, like in that type of way and everything? Just like you were definitely like during that time, was that was when you're getting more validation that like, okay, a book like this is ready for the masses?
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes I wonder, like, if the publishers had some bit of foresight, maybe they would have been open to publishing it at that time. But I'm okay. I'm happy with how it all turned out, and that I'm able to add the second part of the book to it, which I think really makes it more powerful.
And oh, go ahead, Joshua.
Well, I was gonna say, just during that time too, like during the Olympics, what gave you like the confidence and gave you what moved you inside so much that like I needed to speak up and like make sure my voice is heard, that people have an understanding of where athletes are at this time?
The Olympics was hard for me. That whole year was pretty tough. I had just moved to Paris to pursue a great career for the Tokyo Olympics. And 3 months before the Olympics, I was kicked off the team because my coach told me that he didn't believe I had what it takes.
Oh.
Yeah. So that really kind of shattered my mentality for that time period. And so I didn't go into the Olympics very confident. As much as I tried to kind of like build myself up, I built myself up enough to get there, which was great. And I'm proud of myself for that. But ultimately, when it came time to compete there, it was a mess. And so I really struggled for a long time after that. And I wanted people to know that it's not just all like, rah, rah, you made the Olympics. You should be
Yeah.
happy, proud. Tell me about your experience. That must have been great. And I'm over here like, no, I'm still kind of shattered about it, actually.
They always talk. Everyone talks about the Olympic slump. That happens too. But this Olympic slump, you came back and everyone was, we're all stuck indoors. It was just a lot of chaos happening in the world too. How hard was it to compete at that time too? Like you couldn't really bring your family out there with
Yeah.
you. Your coach just kicked you off the team. So that's a lot to really deal with on your
Yeah.
own. Did you have
Wait.
anyone out there to
Wait.
lean on?
So like
What?
your coach, you that your first time moving out the country too? Like,
Yes.
Damn.
so like you packed up all your things, like went to Paris. Like I'm assuming you're on like a club with like there's like other triple jumpers that
Yeah.
you're training with too. And like,
Yep.
wow. And then just
All
being
things.
whole another new country and like like the job that you got out there to go do is all like a whole different that's
Did you
wild.
speak? Can you speak French?
He said,
Oui, du parle français. Oui, oui.
okay, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it was crazy. Like I packed up everything and in 10 days was when me and the coach decided I was going to move there. 10 days later, I was gone. I was there. And I was so like invested. I bought a washing machine. I bought a fridge. I bought an expensive mattress. Like I was invested in being there for the rest of my career, however long that was going to be, so it was a heartache. It was hard.
So what ultimately got you out of that and got you to the point where we saw you in 2022 coming home with the first medal for women in the triple jump?
Mm-hmm. So I guess I kind of had a little bit of a wake up call because my agent was telling me that, the sponsors are thinking you're getting a little old and we don't know if you're going to have any money next year if you don't do well and all this stuff. So it's like either we do well this year, you might as well just kind of pack it up and go do
No, that's
something else.
crazy. That's
And
crazy. Just because you were Olympian though, it's a hard triple. That's hard, bro.
yeah, yep. And I was like, okay, so we need to take a risk. We need to do something different. We need to make a big life change.
Mm.
And I went to Serbia, Belgrade for the indoor world championships that year, 2022. I knew I wasn't going to compete well because I hadn't been jumping well all season or in practice. So I was kind of like, I did my best and I was hoping for the best, but realistically, the marks weren't there. The strength wasn't there. So I kind of knew. So when I finished that competition, I didn't make finals. I approached a coach that I knew from a few years back, and I was like, "Can I move to Greece with you?" And that was it.
So in that meantime, when you left the group in Paris, were you still living in Paris and were you coaching yourself or you were coaching with another old coach before you went to your coach in Greece?
No, I moved to Michigan with
Okay.
Donald Scott. He's also a triple jumper under Sterling Roberts, who's the coach there at Eastern Michigan University. And I was training with them. And that's who coached me through the Olympics and through the following indoor season through Serbia.
And then now going to Greece, like shoot, it's definitely working. It's working. And like you
Mhm.
found the right formula. What was the big difference, the moving to Greece and really being with this new coach?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. One, a big part of me not liking Michigan is that it's not very sunny. It's like the second cloudiest state in the country. So Greece, it's sunny every single day, and that just does wonders for my spirit and for my skin. Um, so that was one thing. Two, my coach is very his like methodology is about like being free and being playful, and that was something that resonates with me because I feel like I'm that type of personality. Like I'm bubbly. I like to dance and be goofy and stuff like that. And he kind of incorporates that all into the training, into the way that I jump. And it just released so much pressure because when I'm out competing, he's just like, play. He's Bulgarian. He doesn't know a lot of English. He uses like one words at a time. So he just says play. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Just having fun.
Yeah, and then it sounds like you got a good team around you too. Also, but I want to ask too, a lot of the book is going to be about like mental health and healing. But before you were a collegiate or pro athlete, in high school, did you have that type of mentality? Did you have somebody feeding into you to like, try and like cultivate energy, visions, like seeing yourself on the runway, just like when you were first starting in triple jump?
Um, no, not in that way. But one of my coaches was big on like doing motivational speeches and stuff. So I think he was one of the first people that kind of like was able to help us get like hyped up and excited about what we're doing and having a positive mindset going into competition. So I think that was a good framework for that aspect of it. As far as visualization, I think that came more in college and probably from either a therapist I started seeing or just doing research.
Yeah, so you kind of had a base to that planted that seed, and did that just become that kind of just become more and more interesting, like the higher level of competition you got into and how the pressure rose? Did you feel like that was something you had to like tug on more so?
It was because actually my energy shifted from high school through maybe my first 3 years of professionalism. So a long time, maybe 8, 9, 10 years. I used like anger and aggression to like get myself hype and to bring that power, that rage in competition. And as I got older, and then definitely after quarantine times, when I started to develop more of like my spiritual connection, I didn't have as much rage. I didn't have as much anger because I was healing. I didn't have those places to pull that out of. And a part of me was trying to like mimic that type of aggression that didn't exist. And so I had to switch it and start using love as my energy source, which may sound funny.
No, I think that's true. I think that's how we should always approach. Because I feel like with rage, I think rage is a good power at times, but then it's unhinged and harder to control. But then a
Absolutely.
state of like love, well, love could definitely be unhinged as well and extremely passionate. But I think with a lot of love too, there's contentment in it as
Mhm.
well. That's just like that's steady on a straight line, and then like you're able to control, like if I want my love to go up, it can go up. If I want to just be like on that straight wave, it can also be on that straight wave. So like love is definitely a line that I think is great for athletics, because whatever you're doing, like you have to be, there ain't no timeouts, bro. Like I was watching, this is totally different. I was watching lacrosse like 2 days ago, and I was like, what? There's
Mhm.
timeouts in lacrosse? I thought it was like soccer. I'm like, bro, it's so, the fact that there's no timeouts in our sport, in anything that you do, even with the triple
Right?
jump, you get to sit out for a second, but it's all like, nah, for that 1 second, like you are on the runway, and like there are no timeouts, no time to stop. You have to be fully locked in. You have to be totally concentrated, and like I think love is a great through line. That was my tangent for today.
Absolutely. No, I agree. And you explained it really well. Like love is steady. And when you're doing something like triple jump, for example, you have to be very precise and very present for your movements. Otherwise, you're running down the runway, you don't know where the board is, you're going through your jump all imbalanced and your body's wiggling and stuff. But like if you have that focus and that steady energy of love, then you're able to be very intentional with your movements and everything is controlled.
Also, I like rage though too. Though I'm just like imagining like your coach just getting you hyped up, like right
Yeah.
before you about to go, like before the meet, like let's get it, Tori. We got to do all this. I've definitely, when I was competing, have gone through both sides of like, it's hard to find that balance of like, how calm do you want to be
Mm.
before you go into competition to being hyped up? Because I went through phases where I was just very like hard on myself if I didn't do good, and I built up all this like, yeah, like aggression going into it, like I want to kill everyone. And I saw you were saying,
I want to
oh,
kill
what was
everybody. Hold on,
oh
bro.
yeah, bro. Like I def you tell you seen me, bro. I got into a fight on the track before.
Oh my gosh.
A distance runner. It's too much. It's extra, bro. Like way too extra. So it's just like I had to find that balance that's healthy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like what is
Hmm.
like healthy to when after you're done with the event, how are you gonna feel? You know, that's like something that I had to deal with running. And I don't know, even as not being an athlete now, I feel like track and field athletes have such weird relationships like with running and working out. Like particularly I would say me coming off from being like a 815 guy, like if I was to tell somebody, like most people that ran those events, like if I was
Hmm.
like, yo, let's go to the track and do a workout for fun, like everyone would be like, huh?
What?
Yeah, like why you
It's
trying to
weird.
why you know, like what? It's just like, but you said it's all love.
Love.
But you like basketball, anyone can go play pickup, like regardless.
Right.
But track, he's like
No, I'm
people
not gonna
scared
go
to
do
go
that.
back. Yeah, yeah. Like
Like, I barely want to walk. And people are like, oh, you do track. We should go running sometime. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm never gonna do that.
But that is not
no,
what I
straight
want to
up.
do. But I want to go back
But
to oh, go ahead, Tori. My bad.
I was gonna say that, Aaron, you make a good point about like balance because I'm not gonna lie, like I do still have aggression. It's just like it's controlled and it goes in waves. It's not like pure aggression, especially during warm up. I still listen to like my hype angry songs and I'll be like, you know what I'm saying? But then when
Yeah.
it comes to competition, I don't say F these bees. I say love these queens. And then I go.
I love that.
Yeah.
That should be a quote for sure.
That's more empowering.
Hmm.
Yeah. I want to go back to how you're talking about your high school coach and like him motivating you. And I did see that like you want to be a motivational speaker as well, and like how that
Yes.
inspired you in that way. And I think that's just super powerful to see how your coach was able to inspire you. And I wanted to talk for a second just how impactful coaches can be just in life in general, and just
Mhm.
especially like in the track and field space. So when you're getting those motivational speeches and getting hyped up before races or meets or whatever it may be, what was it into you to start thinking like, man, maybe I can do the exact same thing?
Mhm. Um, so I love that you brought this up because there's actually a passage in my book that talks about the importance of coaches
Mhm.
and their influence on athletes and how it can either be like amazing and uplifting or they can just like really ruin an athlete too, to both extremes. And I'm grateful that one of my first coaches was one that was motivating. Um, and I really loved what what he said changed the energy of the team. Like at one point, high schoolers, they all just come in and then they're just
Yeah.
sitting down and they're like, "Whoa." And then he starts speaking and I look around and I see the change on my teammates' faces and I
Mhm.
feel the change within myself. And I'm like, I want to be able to inspire and encourage people like that because I think that's amazing. And I actually did do my first like public speaking with that team my senior year on our last conference competition. And that was the first time I ever did a public speaking or motivational speech.
Were you nervous? What were you feeling like going into that? Were you feeling inspired? Were you nervous? And how did they receive it?
I was nervous. I had it written down on my little paper and I
Hmm.
just spoke it out, but they received it really well, actually. They liked it and everybody was excited, and we won that conference championship. And a lot of people of the team came up to me afterwards and were like, that was inspiring. We're excited, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, thanks, guys. So it was a good experience.
And you talked about like there's a lot of other projects you want to do besides you Anthem. Is that like is there a particular like public speaking transition you want to go into this maybe when you're on your book tour or something like that?
So there's two things. One of them is definitely motivational speaking, which I have already been doing a ton of motivational speaking to high schools and colleges, but I would like to get into the corporate realm. I would like to start speaking to adults and help inspire more. I have a dream to do a real life TED Talk one day. So that's one. The other is I'm actually starting a nonprofit. Well, I have a nonprofit that I am hoping to get off the ground and to continue to encourage and inspire our young African Americans of the country.
What's the name of that nonprofit?
Okay, so the nonprofit is actually called Live Happy Retreats.
That's your IG name. Okay.
It is. And what we do is we take kids from underserved communities to different parts of the world. We have a partnership with this retreat in the Dominican Republic. So we like to take them to the DR and teach them different ways to manage their mental wellness and to build emotional intelligence and learn different ways to cultivate connection with their body, as well as just learn about our interconnectedness with the world and learn about different cultures. Just give them that experience to see that the world is so much bigger than whatever struggles, they're experiencing in their cities.
Did you start to develop that idea from when you started to go out the country more, like to Paris and Greece now?
Yes. I had the vision since I was in high school, maybe junior high, because I lived in a predominantly white neighborhood growing up, and all the kids would always come back and talk about all the trips they went on their private jets and on their boats and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I went to go visit my dad, and I know that a lot of African American kids don't get those same experiences because, often we don't have the same resources. And I knew my original plan when I was little was just to do like an overnight camp, just so they can go do something fun and we could all just be kids and have experiences. But since I've been traveling and making connections, it's grown to an international retreat.
Yeah, no, that's my first time out of the country was 27 and I'm 28.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I just got my passport last year. I got to go to Chamonix, France, but like even traveling within the States is we've been traveling a lot the past 2 years. And even when college, when you start traveling for like trips for track field trips, like that was huge. But like going outside of the country definitely like widens your perspective so much. And I think especially like you're saying for a black people, it's very huge. I mean, one place I really haven't been to Africa before, but I've only been out the country once. But just having that more of like global like perspective. A lot of people in the United States don't really have that, especially when you meet people in Europe. They think about about the world and you just feel more of like a global citizen. So that's really cool that you're working to have that. And I was gonna say too, I feel like your 30s are about to be just impact. You're about to be in your impactful period. Like you about to just be changing lives and everything with all these with all these projects that you have coming up. That's super cool. I saw you got seven. So you got seven brothers.
Yes.
How are they feeling about what you're doing right now?
Yeah. So, well, my older ones, you know, they're super proud of me. They're always telling me that. My younger ones are a little, you know, one of them, he don't like to talk to me very much because he's doing his little college thing or whatever. The
He's
other
too
one,
cool.
he's too cool. Yes. My other younger brother, I have to like pull compliments out of him. But when he says things, I know he's supportive and proud.
Wait, you didn't say sisters, Aaron. You have 7 brothers?
Brothers and 2 sisters.
Oh, okay, okay. I was like, dang, that's crazy. Just like 7 brothers and just okay. That's a big family though. That's 10. That's 10 of y'all, right?
Mhm.
How was it growing up with such a big family? I'm just curiosity. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. We didn't all always live together. I mostly grew up with 4, well,
Yeah.
including me. And then in the summer times, we would all get together most of the time. And so anytime we get together, it's always like, it's so much fun and adventure. And it just makes me feel like I don't ever have to worry about anything. You know, I'll always have somebody there who's gonna support me in some way or, you know, just show love. So it's really nice.
Have you been able to, bring your family members onto some of these experiences with you, like anything particularly like outside of the country too?
Mm-hmm. Okay, a couple things. My grandma left the country for the first time last year. And initially she was like, "Oh, you know, I don't need to leave the country. You've seen one city, you've seen them all." And I'm
Yeah,
like, "Girl,
yeah.
that is not true." And so she came to see me compete in Serbia. And she was like, I'm like, "We don't have castles, Grandma. They got castles out here, okay?" And
No,
now
for
she's
real.
come out to Budapest. So I'm excited about that. Her and my mom, both of them came. But my mom's been acting crazy with her travel. She goes everywhere now. And 2 of my brothers came to visit me in Greece in March. And that was both of their first time leaving as well in Europe.
Damn. So you unlocked that world for your family.
Yes. Mhm.
No,
It's
that's amazing.
for
Also,
sure.
also too, because we talked about, widening that perspective. African Americans, Black people don't really get out the country like that. But there's also not that many like Black authors, low key, or they're not highlighted. And it's relevant to how many books is out there or whatever. But
Right.
how important is that to you to be, you know, on that forefront? Especially, I mean, I love, like, I don't know if you know Alison Desir. She just wrote like Running While Black. So I love seeing like Black authors within our running and track and field world too, and particularly, coming from that.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's really exciting because anytime a Black author gets a book out there, you know that for any author, it's been a journey, but it's just really exciting to see a Black author do it. Because like you said, it's not on the forefront and it's just nice to see representation. And so I'm excited to be one of those people who has something out there. And I just hope that somebody sees my book on a shelf one day and they're just like, "I don't know who this is, but this is interesting. And she seems like she's accomplishing things and can find some type of like some healing or connection from my words."
And I think what your book is going to be so powerful about is it seems that your vulnerability in it. Like just reading
Mhm.
a description of it from your Instagram, you saying that it's a raw account of my mental health journey from battling depression to finding healing after enduring sexual trauma, all while pursuing success as a professional track and field athlete. Can you talk just like what's the power of being vulnerable and like laying your laundry out there for everybody to see and be able to get inspiration from that? Like you're saying these are from like journal entry, journaling over years. I've journaled
Yep.
at times and I know that my journal can be personal. You feel me? Like I don't want anybody to see my journal, okay?
Yeah.
So it's all like the power of vulnerability in that state. I feel like it's going to do wonders. And what do you feel like that power kind of is?
Hmm. Honestly, it's a bit terrifying, and I'm actually rereading it right now just to make sure everything's good. And sometimes I'm like, "Are we sure we want everybody to read this?"
Yeah.
You know? But I think that the reason why I felt that this was so important to do was because I know without a doubt that there are tons of young women and young men that are going through or have gone through similar things that I've experienced, and they don't talk about it, and they haven't told anybody, and they haven't dug deep to start their healing. And I feel like maybe my journey would have been a little easier if I found a book like mine, or if somebody just shared their story with me. And I just want other people to know that they're not alone and that I get it. That's it.
And that all makes sense. That's why it's called You Anthem. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because it's your anthem. Is it like your battle cry? It's you're proud
Yes,
of you're proud
yes,
of who you are, even throughout all these trials and tribulations, all these tough things that are hard to talk about. This is you, and it sounds like you're accepting, like, you know, accepting who you are.
yep.
Am I on the dot with that? Am I?
You're right on it. Like everything, the good, the bad, the embarrassing, any shame, any guilt, like it's in there because people don't talk about it enough. And even though it makes my insides curl up, it makes me feel like uncomfortable to know that everybody's going to be reading my diary pretty much. I know that it will have like profound impact on somebody's journey. And even if it's just one person, that's my focus.
What do you feel like? What do you feel like this is gonna do for you? Like, or what has it already done for
Mhm.
you?
Yes. Well, journaling in itself has always been um, kind of like a form of meditation for me to just sort out my thoughts. And because I feel like when people think through things all the time, but then they get distracted by a dog and then they forget what they were thinking about. And any healing or profound thought that they had in that moment is gone. So I think it's so important for people to write, especially when they're trying to flesh something out or experience or go through their own like traumas or experiences. Because it helps all of these spaghetti thoughts become one linear thought, beginning and end, beginning of a sentence, end of a sentence, period. And you have it written so you can reflect on it and you can go back on it, or you can see your journey as you change and you grow. And I think that's something that you'll really be able to see in my writing, just from me being so deep in depression and negative self-talk to at the end just like being free. um, and that's just what it's done for me. It's just helped me get from A to Z,
Yeah,
which
I'm
isn't
gonna.
really supposed to be because I'm still growing.
Hey, but hey, y'all, you Anthem. This is an Olympian we talking to. You know, she's
Yes.
super down to earth and everything, but this ain't regular. Where she got to was the Olympics. Where she got to
Mm-hmm.
was the first woman to get a medal for the USA in the triple jump. And we know she about to go off in Budapest too. We know she about to do something special. So like she got from to somewhere very, very high. So like there's a lot of perspective and learning and healing, and everything that Tori does is intentional. That's what I was gonna say. Down, because we talked to you when you compete, you add your hair to the
Yes,
the
my
paint on your
makeup.
face. Yeah, everything you
Yeah.
do is intentional. So like all the athletes out there listening to this, or even if you're not an athlete, or you just run 5Ks on the weekend, there's something that you could really like pull from this book. So make sure you. When is it on pre-sale? When is it? Is or pre? It's already
Now.
on
It's
pre-sale right
on
now.
now.
Yeah,
It's on
yeah, yeah,
pre-sale
yeah.
When?
now.
When? Now.
And I'll
Now,
send links so you can post it on wherever you post these.
and all my corporate we need her speaking. We need some motivational speaking too at some of these corporate events. We got to get that going. But I was gonna ask you, do you have any favorite motivational speakers? Who are your favorite motivational speakers, and do you have any favorite authors?
Ooh, okay. So I'll start with authors because that's easier. I read a lot of Paul Coelho.
Paul
Um,
Coelho.
and his name is James Field. I forget his name, but the name of the series that I've been reading is it's called The Celestine Prophecy is the first one, and there's like 4 different books. I highly recommend it for just kind of getting to know your place in the world and helping you find a deeper connection with yourself and your journey. It's really
Paul
great.
Coelho is the guy who wrote The Alchemist.
Correct.
Oh yeah. I love that book.
Mm-hmm. And public speakers, that's a good one. So I mostly follow people on, well, everything's on Instagram now, but I forget their names. Oh no. I don't.
Do you be following E.T. the hip hop preacher? Eric
Yeah,
Thomas?
actually, I went to one of his talks because he's around Michigan State all the time.
Oh, yes, true. He's from out there. Didn't he go? Oh, he
Mhm.
didn't go to Michigan State, but he's from
His
Detroit.
son did.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, he's from Detroit, so he's there all the time. Um, But yeah, he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. But there's a lady that I really like, but I can't find her name.
Well, that's dope. I like motivational speakers. I used to be on ET, listen to ET's podcast all the time. Inky
Mhm.
Johnson as well. They be they nice on the stage. Like you got to be to capture people's attention
Attention.
and like transfer
Yes.
that energy and motivation to people. That's a
That's true.
real skill.
It is a skill. I feel like my energy is a little different. Like, what's that man's name with the big head? And he's all his voice is like this.
Are you talking about what he's like tall? Is he tall or is
He's tall.
Tony
Yeah.
Tony Robbins?
Tony Robbins. Yes. My energy
Mm.
isn't like that. I'm not like, go out there and do your thing. I'm more like I connect with people's emotions. Okay. I
Mm.
get deep in there and I touch on their childhood traumas and necessities and needs. And that heals and encourages.
I
That's
like that.
good.
You're not like
Mhm.
You're
David
not like
Goggins.
you got
Like
you know not like
get
David
hard.
Goggins.
It's more, it's chill, but it like stirs you up.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And that's that love. That's that love.
That's
That
that
steady love.
love.
It's not like just injection of power and energy. Like, no, I'm putting something that's deep, that's gonna simmer, and like you're
Mhm.
gonna like that's gonna be rooted into you for years to come. That's
Yeah.
low key, yeah, that's low key journaling, bro. That's low key journaling, a way of doing it too. But
Hmm.
I think we're starting to close towards the end of the podcast right now. And but as we do close, I do have a few more questions. I want to talk about triple jump for a second again, because you've broken the American record several times. I have 2
Yeah.
questions to ask you. Just like, first, what is it like breaking an American record? Like, is that like getting the jump, seeing the numbers on the board, like, is it always a different emotion, or like what is it just like breaking the American record and being all like, dang, I'm the best ever in
Ever.
America, you know?
Right in our country, yes. That's such a good question. Okay, so I think the first time was pure surprise. Okay. When I saw that mark, it was I broke it to 1484. And I was in Guadeloupe. And when I saw the mark, I was like, the whole crowd was like, "Yeah." It was just like, it was so great. It was so exciting. And I was like, okay, let's keep going. It was so hype. And yeah, that was for the outdoor record. The indoor record I broke twice. And the first time I broke it, I was also surprised,
Mhm.
but it was more chill. I was just like, yeah, I got it. Second time I broke it indoor, that one came with like joy, but like a lot of confidence because I think it was right after I had just moved to Paris. So I had moved there in the fall, and that winter I came back and jumped the American record, and it was kind of like, oh, y'all were doubting me moving out here and all this stuff, and look at me come back. Okay, it's working. All right?
Yeah, validation.
That was really exciting too. But I think each time there's not less excitement, but it's more like calmed excitement because I have the belief in myself. That first time I had no idea what I was
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Then on that too, now that you've done it before, and like we were talking in the beginning, like Jasmine Moore, Couture Orgy, like they're just trying. You guys are just trying to beat each other every single time out there. Like you guys are always just trying to one up each other and pushing yourself to move up more and higher, higher, higher on the list. How
Mhm.
often do you think about breaking the record or like besting that jump or like trying? Like how often do you think about on the runway or approaching a meet? Like, man, maybe I can break the American record or do something in that way. You feel me? When you approach a meet.
It's definitely a goal of mine to get both of them back and like really putting it out there. Uh, I try not to think about it too much
Mhm.
because I just want to be free as possible when I'm on the runway. But sometimes I really do, I feel it. Like when on my jump at Worlds that put me in third place, I had this feeling and I was like, whoa, they don't know what I'm about to do. I'm about to do something crazy. So that wasn't like a preconceived thought. It just happened in the
Yeah.
moment and I accepted it. So sometimes that happens.
Yeah, to have that feeling, just knowing I'm about to go off right now has to be
Yeah.
great. You know, do you get that? Do you have those moments in practice? Is this like a similar feeling that you're like, oh, I made this jump in practice. I feel like that same energy right now. Something special is about to happen.
Mhm. Practice. Yeah. I mean, I do carry that same confidence and I think it's a little more like controlled because obviously there's not that same adrenaline. But yeah, I do have those same feelings. Like I feel a lot of energy around this moment. And I'm just gonna go do it. Let it happen, let it flow, let it fly.
I need to get on that feeling, man. I need to start channeling that, bro. Where then I can be
Mhm.
able, I don't be triple jumping, but just in life, I get a test
I'll be
or
channel that
job
for the
interview.
podcast, bro.
Yeah, into the podcast. Come on, I want it right now.
Yeah.
I sort of had that feeling this morning. You feel me? I think it's been good. I think it's been a good one. I think it's a good one so far.
That's why we get hyped in the beginning. We gotta get that, cultivate that, get ready.
Mhm. Understand what you want, create your visions. You create your own visions, you create your own destiny, you know? You
I
just
like
gotta
it.
be open to it.
So I think I'm gonna be in Greece one day. I think I definitely will visit this country. What do I need to do? What are three things I need to do, must do when I get to Greece?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you one that everyone does because it's necessary, even though it's super touristy, and that's visit the Acropolis, the Parthenon up there, you know, Athena's temple of
Yeah.
worship. That's important because one, it's just a really fun hike. It's beautiful views up there, and it's huge. So it's just cool to see. And you don't see anything like that anywhere else in the world. So
Yeah.
that's one. Two, I would say you should go on an island hopping tour because the islands are very different than the mainland. The architecture is different. Some of them are so small they don't even have cars. They just walk around on donkey. I mean, you don't walk on donkeys, but they just ride around on donkeys. So that's just a really unique experience. So island hopping, Parthenon, and then let's see. I'll just give you one of my small favorites, which is sweets. I love sweets. I would say you need to go to Kinki's and get some lucumades.
What
They're
is
delicious.
that?
It's a
Luku.
sweet. It's like it's not a donut. It's much lighter and fluffier than a donut. It's very thin, but you get like 12 in a little bowl and you can put chocolate and ice cream on it.
Ooh.
It's so good.
That sounds fire. That sounds, is it almost
Mhm.
like a with the chocolate? Is it almost like a funnel cake or no?
It's got funnel cake energy if you put funnel cake into little balls, like
Okay.
donut type things,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but lighter.
Definitely. I think I'm definitely gonna go to Greece one day. Greece, I feel like
Mhm.
I
What
don't
is
really.
this?
Rome is. I mean, not Rome. I want to say. I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to go to like Europe is cool, but I don't feel like I want to go everywhere in Europe. Definitely
Mhm.
do, but like Rome and like Greece, I think there's so much history in those two places. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
agreed. You should go to Rome. I've been to Rome, but I only spent like 2 days there because I was on an Italy tour,
Mm.
and it's so much fun and it's so beautiful. I definitely plan on going back, and they have very good food. And Rome was the only place in Italy that I actually liked the wine. So, yes, do that.
How many countries have you visited? And like, I know you got one story that's at least like the terrible travel experience. I'm sure you probably have a couple, right? Or are
I
you
have
just lucky?
multiple. No, yeah, well, okay. I've been to 32 or 33 countries.
Dang.
Hmm. And I have bad travel day experiences themselves, but I also have like crazy stories from just like different countries. Like if I decided to go on an adventure, which is something I always do, those are fun. Which
What do
one
you
did you?
wait, what's like an event? What is an adventure for you? Like just going on a tour or something? I want to hear about an adventure.
Okay, so I was in Switzerland for the Diamond League, the Zurich Diamond League,
Mhm.
but I had some extra days. So I booked a ticket and took a train, a 2-hour train into some random arse mountain town called Lauterbrunnen. And it was this like small little tick 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 train that's like going through the mountains and stuff. And there was a beautiful like lake, a river going by it, and that the mountains, they're huge. The mountains are huge. And so when I get to this town, first of all, um, you have waterfalls falling from the sky, okay, because the clouds don't cover the top of the, or they cover the top of the mountain. That was beautiful. And I went there because I wanted to go paragliding. Um,
Right.
but when I got there, they said that it was too windy and I couldn't go. So instead, I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I rented a bike and I just like rode off into the mountains, where I was stalked by some random man, but that's not the story. On my way back, I'm riding back and I look up and there's a man stuck in the mountain trees, and his feet are dangling down, and he's got his parachute stuck up in the trees.
No.
And I'm
Yo.
like, oh, who tried to paraglide when they said not to paraglide? So I was like, I'm so happy I didn't like try
No.
to find a different company.
That's crazy. Was he okay?
He, like at first I was like, is he dead? But I stayed and I watched, and the helicopters like had to come and cut them out, and he was fine. But when they were dropping him like down to the ground, he was going down like
No,
this.
no, he was defeated.
He was defeated. And I
That
was
tree
like,
might have saved him though.
the tree saved his life. Yeah,
That is
it was.
Oh
horrible. That
man, I
sounds like a
cannot
chill
imagine you
day
just riding
though.
your bike and you just see somebody on the floor though. Oh, that would have been
That would have been a different
traumatizing.
story.
That would've been-
Oh my goodness.
that
Yeah.
sounds like, man, that sounds crazy though. That's amazing. But as we close out though, we always like to ask two questions before we leave the podcast. First one, we don't really know who to get on the podcast at times. So we like to ask our guests who would be a great person to come on the podcast. They don't have to be an athlete. They could be a coach. They could be someone like in the running space. They could be someone outside of running. But who do you think would be a great person that would come on, have a great conversation, and all the things?
Okay, so if you want somebody who is very also intentional and like energetic, I know a physio that has worked at the Olympic Training Center, has worked with tons of athletes, and so that could be an interesting perspective.
Right.
His name is Colin Diamond, so I think he would be someone good. And then another person that comes to mind is either Mushami, I forget her name, but she was a two-time Olympian, I think in the 400 and in the relay. She loves to talk and tell stories and to help motivate too. So I think she would be a really good option. Or Thea LaFond, who is also a triple jumper for the Dominica.
All right, we'll keep those in mind. Keep those in mind. We definitely need some guests. We need some guests.
We haven't had a physio like that before either, so yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be super dope. That'd be super dope. The last question, it's a deep one, but it's always a good one to end on because lets everybody know really what you about. What mark do you want to leave on the sport when you hang up the spikes and it's all said and done?
I would say that when I graduated college, I didn't have anything. No one expected me ever to do anything. I was always, the highest place I ever got at NCAA's was 5th. And so I had no sponsorships, no support. They didn't want me at the Olympic Training Center. And so I just want people to know that that's not the end of the world. And even if other people don't see the magic in you and the talent in you, doesn't mean that you should give up and not see those things in yourself, because nothing was given to me. Well, I had help, okay, for sure. But my point is that you can make something amazing out of nothing if you just have that determination, that belief, and that focus and connection.
I love that. Rejection isn't necessarily a no. A no isn't over. A rejection can just be a delay to something, something that's bigger that's gonna come right around the corner. So, I love that. Appreciate you, Tori, coming on the podcast. I think this was a great one. I think everybody needs to go get you Anthem, be able to get this. Like, if you thought this podcast was good, if you thought this podcast was deep, you thought this was fun, I think you Anthem is probably gonna be 10 times better than this. You can have it on your shelf, you can digest it, put some notes in it. You feel me? Really get to learn who Tori Franklin is and be inspired by her story. Truly, like this was super dope. Aaron, you want to say something before we get out of here, bro?
I just want to say we're rooting for you, Tori. We're rooting for you at Budapest. I'm excited to see you compete. We'll be staying up late over here in the US to see you do your thing, you and Katora. Hopefully we get to see two medals. I would love to see
on the podium.
Yeah, I would love to see 2 on the podium. And for everyone listening or watching, make sure this should be released by the world champs. Well, if it is or it's not, just know we're rooting for you, and everyone listening, y'all should be rooting for Tori Franklin as well. So make sure y'all tune in to World Champs and just start watching Triple Jump, because we doing our thing, man.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, everyone listening. I won't say we'll see you next week, but we'll see you soon. You know what I mean? We'll see you when you get that notification, 2 Black Runners, we out here. All right, see y'all.